Peace, y'all. It's your man Jay Cerrone. I've been asked several times over the years, both in person and online a few times, why I don't practice organized religion anymore. I was raised in a strict fundamentalist religion, Christian religion, and I've explored other religions, the big three, And my thing is, spirituality is like your relationship with the higher power, which I still believe in that. But I think religion is how other people tell you how to be spiritual. Now, the reason why I personally don't follow organized religion is came from me being raised religious and reading the Bible myself, like reading it and not just listening to what people told me the Bible said. And being the only son of my parents, and then especially having a son myself, I only have one child, the ransom sacrifice and how that worked really bothered me after a while. It's supposed to bring you comfort, but it didn't. Because as a father, I would never have my son sacrifice my son for the mistakes of what other people did, especially when I created those other people. There has to be a better way. And I'm not questioning the higher power. I'm questioning what that book says, that was written by men that the book says was inspired by God, about, like, even if you look up the definition of apostate, it's somebody who left their former religion or political party, or if you go back to the original version, it's a runaway slave. So this is why I say reading is gangster, right? So people can tell you and you can listen to what they say, or you can look it up for yourself. And that's what I was encouraged to do growing up. And I think sometimes people just want you to stop at a certain point and just take their word for it. No, I'm gonna keep researching, you know what I mean? And so, especially when I have questions that aren't answered. So when certain things bothered me and didn't sit right with my conscience, I kept looking. And I would never be okay with sacrificing my son. My father's his parents' only son. My uncle is my grandfather's only son, as far as I know. So in Judeo-Christian society, it seems like a theme that boys, even look at wars, boys historically were the only ones that were drafted. It's like, why is society okay with sacrificing young men and boys? Maybe it's because of religion historically. So this is just something that never sat right with me as a young kid, especially as I became a teenager around 16, 17, and started really like digging in and reading the Bible. This is something that really bothered me. And then when I was in my mid-20s and had my son, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it anymore. There was no way. There was no way I could do it. So I've been more on some, studying metaphysics, like the stuff that you can't really prove. You can't prove it. But really, can you prove that the God of the Bible exists? Especially when you start reading it yourself and look at the contradictions from one scripture to another, from the Old Testament to the New Testament, from First Chronicles to Second Chronicles, First Kings to Second Kings. This is just in the Old Testament, let alone from the Old Testament to the New. And then people use it to control you. And like I said, I'm gonna run it in the whole pause, but Frederick Douglass said, knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. This is both the physical slave and the mental slave, let alone the fact that the Bible condones slavery. And there's a whole story about Noah and after the flood that Christians and Catholics especially use to justify slavery of people that look like me. So, I mean, there's so many reasons why I couldn't be a Christian anymore. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It took too long for them to say that's not okay anymore, even though there's still slavery in parts of Africa, let alone sex trafficking, let alone the fact that people are like, well, why don't you be Muslim? And I studied that when I was a teenager. there's something that happened in my own family back in the 80s when I was a baby when it came to that religion. But there was a whole slave trade, and reason why there's so many people that look like me that follow that religion. So, I mean, if we could just go down the rabbit hole, it gets deeper and deeper why I don't follow organized religion. So anybody that cared or anybody that this resonates with, I just wanted to share. And if this resonates with you or anybody that you know, feel free to share. I appreciate y'all time. I appreciate y'all listening. Remember, reading is gangster. Have a good day, y'all, or good night. Peace.